Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode on our Budget Mini Clubman. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, please go back and watch those. You saw I've done the floor, we've done the flitch panel repair here. In the time between then, I've got basically the doorstep cleaned back a bit further and some cure rust just to basically go over it to make sure there's no more there. I've also done the same with some bits and pieces inside the car, so you can't really go wrong with that stuff. You know, you sometimes have to repeat it a few times, but like I've mentioned, it does work. I do like it, it's good stuff. So going on from that, you'll see that I've got some clamps in place. I've been test fitting the sill. Now I'm really chuffed because the sill fits really good. I've obviously left a bit more overhang on this panel here, and yeah, I'm really quite chuffed with it. People go on about pattern panels not fitting and whatnot, but I've got Magnum sills on the sidewalk, Magnum flitch panels on the sidewalk, and you can't knock them. You just got to play with them a bit more. You've got to get them to fit yourself. Don't expect it to fit first time. They never fit first time. Well, they do rarely, but like these sills, to be fair, have gone straight in even though I've done a repair. But things like floor pans, you've seen I've had to fet all that. Door skins require a bit of work, front ends require a bit of work, but they do fit. You just got to put the time in. So whilst out here enjoying a brew, I was reflecting on how much more work I've got to do. So the door's off now. I noticed because the car sits underneath like a cover and we've got damp coming through, that the water was sort of collecting in these corners. So obviously not ideal, shouldn't have too many cars, but yeah, do what we can do. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how the sill fits, because I'm chuffed with that. I'll show you the overhang that I can now cut off, which is everyone's probably wondering maybe in the previous episode why I left so much, but you'll see why. And then I'm going to seam seal everything, all my work that I've done so far on this side, and leave that to go off and dry. And then you're going to get to see the colour, because I'm going to paint inside the cavities. So really excited to see some colour go on this car, because yeah, it was a colour that my other half actually came up with. It's a colour that I really do quite like. There's quite a few earlier Mark III Minis in this colour, and I think the look of the Clubman at the end, it's going to really suit it. So yeah, sorry to the purists, I'm not keeping it black. I feel like the earlier look colours, the pastel-y nice retro colours, suit a Clubman a lot more, suit a Mini a lot more. So if you haven't seen already on my Instagram page, I've got like, it's called Atlantic Green, but my minivan's that colour, and I love those earlier colours. So enough rambling, let's show you this sill, drink this brew, and let's get some colour on it. Right, so you can see the sill now, it fits really nice. That bit there is basically the original part of the heel board, which I've bent round, so it looks a bit crude and a bit battered now, but it gets hammered back round and covers the seal up. So obviously that'll get all seam welded down there. All the way along here, that's the course that's going. So yeah, don't worry about that too much, which is why I've not really bothered cure rusting it. You can see I've stopped there because all of that's going. So it's all clamps in place. Really happy. I'm also welding up the jacking point. I never keep these, I never jack them any up there. So that's going. All of this here is where I've plug welded. That needs to be tidied up a little bit, so it does look a bit messy now, which is why I'm taking the time to do this before I paint the inside of the sill. So going down to my repair, I left quite a bit of overhang here, so I can now trim all that back to marry up with that, because this part of the sill butts onto it. So really happy with that. You can see where the floor's folded round and it's seam welded along there as well. So that all gets, I'm really chuffed with it. Look how tight that is. Really chuffed with it. So all of this is looking really nice now. So I'll trim this back, and it fits really nice. So you can see there's the seam where I had to seam weld the floor, the camera focus. So it's just a bit of seam sealer on there, and yeah, you can't see any of the repairs at all. Look, I'm really chuffed with it. So like I say, that's going. Weld that up, weld it flat. I'll show you my sidewalk actually, so you see what I mean. Right, so if you see here, this is where the jacking point was. These are Magnum sills as well. So I just basically weld a square into it. I weld it from the other side as well, so all the welding's kept on the inside. So that's just the factory area, and so you see seam seal all the way around it.
So yeah, my floors are filthy from IMM. That's not rust, before anyone says anything. It is just absolutely filthy. But yeah, this is the sort of finish that I love having on my cars. Bit poor light, but it's basically black stone chip in the centre and body colour on the outside. So right, so you can see where I had the overhang. I basically shaped it. I've left a bit because what I'll do is I'll seam weld the seal onto there, and it almost acts as a bit of a mud guard, and then it seam weld through there. So this will be nicely joined, but I'm really happy with that. Really quite chuffed with it. It just looks so good. Look at all clean and shiny and solid. So I'm really chuffed with that. It's nice and tight. I won't go any further with tidying that. We'll leave that as it is for now until we finally fit the seal. All these holes are welded up as well. One thing I wish I did on the sidewalk, done the jacking point, but I didn't do these. So these are basically the anchor points, which would have been on inside the inner seal. There'll be an anchor point, and then you bolt through there, and that's how they bolted them on the jig from the factory, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But really chuffed with it. Really happy with that. Right, so now I've got the seal fitting really well. I've gone ahead, seam sealed all the inside of the floor. Everything's now in zinc primer. Like I mentioned before, it sits outside. I want to protect it from the elements. So I've treated some rust that was up here, some surface rust. That's come back really nice. The floor pan's all sealed, painted. Underneath, you can probably see the join where the floor was there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I could do about that with the different profiles in the pattern panel on the original floor. But you'll see in a sec that when the seal's over it, you don't see it. So I'm quite chuffed with that. Right, so what you might see here, I've got some masking tape. So what I've done is I've masked off basically where the line on the seal sits to the floor pan of the car. So I'll prep this up in a separate video, but what I want to do now is paint the cavity with the body colour of the car. So yes, you guessed it, you get to see the colour of the car. Now, some of you have been putting in the comments, some of you have been chatting amongst yourselves. What colour do you think it could be? So like I've mentioned, we want to go something a bit more retro. It has to be a mini colour. I'm a bit of a stigma. I like the colours of BMC cars to stay on BMC cars. Yes, I'm changing the colour, but I want it to still be in keeping with the Mini and the Mini heritage. So apologise if anyone liked the black. The black's going. I'm really looking forward to getting some of this colour on the car, because I mean, I'm fired up to get this done as it is, but to see some colour inside these cavities, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I'll bring you down now and I'll show you how I've masked this off and the reasons for it, and then we'll get some colour on it, shall we? Let's get some colour on it. Right, so I'll show you, basically this line here represents where this edge of the seal, which I have holes punched in it for plug welding, sits on the body or the floor pan of the car. So I don't want this to be in colour, because this is zinc primer, so this is weld through primer, and I want to be able to keep a layer of material or layer of paint between the seal and my floor pan. So I've masked this off and I'll paint the body colour in here. Now this isn't something you have to do, but if you've not watched our 89 build, please go back and watch that, because I painted the cavities inside that car. Now for me, every car I've stripped, now this one's genuine, but i.e. by genuine I mean it's not had any seals in its life, but every car I've stripped has been primer inside, or it's been corroded, or it's just been lagged with wax. That doesn't help. In my eyes, get some colour, get some solid sealer on it. So this has been seam sealed, which is what all this is, and then it's going to have a colour over the top of it as well. Now to me, that's the best thing. Now in my views, to have colour inside your seal, so a proper coverage of paint, what better thing to have inside your seal? It should protect the car. I've done it to my sidewalk, I've done it to the 89, and I've not noticed anything. I mean, the sidewalk's been on the road getting on for 4 years now, and I've not noticed anything coming through. It gets waxed every winter, or every time I can really. The car's not always on the road. So this one's going to be no exception. What I'm going to do is paint the cavity,
once the seal's on and I've done the quarter, I will straight away wax it. Then I will get some real small nozzles and I'll just wax all inside that cavity. You know it's shiny paint inside, and then you know it's waxed over the top. There's no reason for water to ingress on there. There's sealer, paint, and then wax. So it might sound a bit bells and whistles, it might sound really anal to do this, to sit here masking the floor pan off, but from what I've seen and the cars I've done and the things I've seen on forums, every Mini's gone in the seals. So I want mine to survive, I want mine to last. So without further ado, let's get some paper down on the floor, some paper over the doorstep, and let's get that colour on.
Colour. Come on, who's guessing? Right, so it's all masked off. You see the area I want to paint. Might seem overkill to some people, but it's the way I want to do it. It's the way it's proven to be working over the last 4 years on the sidewalk, like I mentioned. So, top tip in this weather as well, if you're planning on any painting, I keep the tins in the house because it's just that bit warmer. So, shall we get some colour on it? Let's do that. Right, so there you have it. If anyone's not guessed the colour yet, this is BMC Bronze Yellow. So this is an early Mark III colour. The early GTs are in this colour, and I absolutely love it. I think it's an absolute cracking colour. I'm stoked to see it on this car now, so all this will be going and just picture the car in this colour. So you saw from the shot I showed you before, obviously it's lumpy and bumpy, there's seam sealer in there, there's the odd weld and stuff like that, but the whole point of this is to keep it preserved. So all the work that I put into repairing this, so you saw that I painted all underneath here, all this is in colour. So when we put the seal on, you saw me peel off the mask line. I've still got a nice zinc primer line to put my seal on with, so there's still a layer of paint between the seal and the floor, and inside there is shiny paint. So I hope you guys can respect that I wanted to change the colour of the car. I'm just not the biggest fan of a black Mini, so I know there's loads out there, some beautiful Minis out there in black, and I've owned a black Mini myself, which I absolutely loved. But for me, I just like these earlier colours, and I thought, while I've got the car at this stage, now I've got the chance to change it, I'm changing it. So this is Bronze Yellow, so it's a BLMC Rover FMF colour. So if anyone wants to get that for their car, that's the paint code. But I'm really stoked with it. So for me, it's not a bright yellow, but it's like a mustard colour. It's like a mustardy yellow. So at the end of this video, I'll drop a picture in of a Clubman in this colour, and you'll be able to see what I mean and maybe see the reasons why I've gone this way with it. The basic end styling of the car has not been decided yet. Originally I was going to have some Ross style wheels on it and make it look like not a GT replica, but I wouldn't put the decals or anything on it, but I'd make it look like, have that colour and have those wheels. But plans have changed a little bit on it, so obviously that will come in time. But the whole point of this series is to get this car to a painted stage for £1,500. So obviously that's a material that we've had to factor in, and I hope I've got at the end enough for paint stage of it. So really stoked, really happy. Yeah, this is like a proper Christmas present. So I wanted to thank Tony. You would have seen Tony in the Midas builds. He went and got me this paint mixed up for me from our local paint suppliers. Can't thank you enough for doing that. Absolutely appreciate it. And they are spot on with this mix. It's absolutely perfect. So I'll obviously have to go back and get the main paint when we paint the car, but if it looks anything like that, I'm going to be chuffed. So I'll leave you with some nice shots of the colour. I'll drop in the picture like I've mentioned, and we'll call it that. Absolutely stoked.
Like always, guys, thank you for watching. I massively appreciate your support. Appreciate it's taken a bit long to show you some colour, but I hope the build-up was worth it for you. I hope you can respect the change. And onwards and upwards, let's get that seal on now and then cut that rear quarter off. We're working our way around slowly to get rid of this rust, so stick with me, guys. I hope you're getting something out of this build, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying bringing this to you. So once again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, comment below and chat amongst yourselves what you think of the colour. I won't be offended. If it's not for everyone, it's not for everyone, but if we all like the same thing, life would be boring. So I hope you can respect that. But before I go, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a channel that I've recently found on YouTube. His channel's called Mini Mission, and I'll put the link in the description of this video below. He's again restoring another Classic Mini. He's doing a grand job of it so far. So I think the last video he posted, he's sorting out the seats, he's stripping them down, he's going to repair the frames, paint the frames, and yeah, it's all these little things that make up into one of these beautiful cars that we all know and love. So please go and check his channel out. I'll leave the link below like I've mentioned. So let's all stick together, let's get these minis built, and let's roll into the new year with more colour, hopefully. So catch you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching.